Hello, jet setters, or should I say rail fans. I'm Jeb Brooks from greenergrass.com. Right now, I'm in Washington, D.C. I need to get over to Los Angeles, so I'm going to take the train. The first ride is on board the Cardinal. That'll go to Chicago, where I'll pick up the Southwest Chief for the rest of the journey. If everything goes according to plan, I should be dipping my feet in the Pacific Ocean in just a few days. I hope you'll join me as we explore the U.S. the way it was meant to be seen, from the rails.
The Cardinal operates between New York and Chicago. The whole trip takes 26.5 hours, but I was only on for 24 since I joined in Washington. Traveled through the gently rolling hills of Virginia's Shenandoah Valley, fell asleep in wild, wonderful West Virginia, dozed through Ohio, and woke up in Indiana before arriving refreshed and ready for the next leg in Chicago. Join me in this video as we explore Amtrak's Cardinal, and don't miss the next one, where I'll share the rest of my trip across the country on board the Southwest Chief. Union Station is only a matter of steps from the Capitol Building and Supreme Court. It's just a short walk from the White House. In other words, Union Station is located right in the heart of Washington, D.C., and that's one of the greatest benefits of train travel. Stations are often located right in the middle of the cities they serve.
There may be more efficient ways to get across the country, but I don't know that any are quite as romantic or historically significant as this one.
And in this two-part series, we'll celebrate those unique qualities as we cross the United States by train. Union Station opened in 1907 and was rebuilt between 1981 and 89. Today, it's Amtrak's second busiest station behind New York's Penn Station. Not only does it contain the necessary elements for a transportation hub, like ticket counters, but it also serves as a home to a number of shops and restaurants. Perhaps most importantly, it's not hard to find the conveniences that may make a long-haul train journey just a bit more comfortable. The Cardinal operates 3 days a week and leaves Washington at 11 a.m., scheduled to arrive the following day at 10 in the morning in Chicago. So far, it looked like we were on time. My sleeper car ticket meant I had access to the bare-bones Acela Lounge. Because I'd visited once before, I'd been sure to have a full breakfast before arriving. There just wasn't much food on offer. It was nice to have a place to store my bags. And there was plenty of seating. Because the furniture rendered the plugs only 50% useful, someone thoughtfully added more.
Let's get on board.
Boarding is directly from the lounge, which, in the context of air travel, is a really rare privilege, found only in a few places in the world. An Amtrak employee appeared, escorted us through a secret door, and showed us to our train. Unlike the long-distance trains out west, the ones that pass through Penn Station in New York are served by single-level Viewliners, like this one. Those trains out west, including the Southwest Chief I'll be on very soon, are operated by the much larger two-level Superliners. Now, this is only my third time traveling long-haul by Amtrak, and in each case, I struggled to find my car. I'm really not sure how passengers know where to go. My ticket had a car number, but none of the car's numbers matched the number on my ticket. Finally, I gave up and asked for help. How do you know which car to get into? Leave me a comment. What's the secret here? I got on board, found my roomette, sat down, and we were off, only about 7 minutes late. If you like travel, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any videos like this one. There are a lot more to come. As the train began moving forward, I felt a familiar feeling. A sense of calm and relaxation overtook me. There's just something amazing about traveling by train. And having a private space, this roomette, to enjoy the passing countryside brought a sense of serenity that only this means of transportation can provide.
For those of you just joining us, welcome aboard. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind your meals are included in your accommodations. You're entitled to one complimentary alcoholic beverage. Gratuity is not included, but it is appreciated. All your meals will be served in your room. There's no sitting in the cafe lounge car. I do turn down beds 9:30. If you want your beds made before that time, please let me know. If you're riding all the way to Chicago, keep in mind all beds will be made before arrival in Chicago. I do make all beds 1 hour prior to Chicago. If you want it done before then, please just let me know. So welcome aboard train number 51 headed for Chicago Union Station.
Leaving Washington, D.C. and heading south offers passengers nice views of some of Washington's iconic locations like the Capitol Building, the Washington Monument, and the Jefferson Memorial. But it wasn't until we crossed the Potomac that I felt the journey had really begun. I wasn't sure where to put my carry-on suitcase. On Superliners, there's plenty of bag storage by each entrance, but on the Viewliner, I just didn't seem to find any. So I again asked for help. She pointed to a spot above the room, and to be honest, that seemed a little intimidating.
I got it. Now, what do you say we take a look around the room?
Roomettes are Amtrak's smallest version of a private space. There's space for 2 people who can sit, facing each other, but honestly, I think it would have been a bit tight for 2. Beside the larger seat is a convenient shelf. The thermostat worked well, and it was easy for me to get the temperature exactly where I wanted. The attendant call button is located here as well, although I never felt the need to use it. My attendant, Melanie, was always there when I needed something. There are more lighting controls located here behind your head. There's a table we'll check out in just a bit. And, of course, the other chair, which also has lights and controls. Here's a new one on me, a folding sink. Soap, cups, and towels are provided in each roomette. And up here, of course, is storage, as well as the upper bunk, which folds away to allow plenty of headroom during the day. There are 2 US-style 3-prong plugs in each room. The tray table folds out here. It's sturdy, and if you bring your own chess pieces, doubles as an entertainment device. The door locks and has a curtain to ensure total privacy if you want it. The Cardinal offers Wi-Fi, which I found to be fast and reliable when I needed it. It was a great way to check out my website, greenergrass.com, although it's available to you, even off Amtrak. If you do visit, you'll find some of my older videos and stories from travels all over the world. If you'd like to, you can even sign up for my newsletter, because I share some behind-the-scenes stories and other tips about travel. That said, it makes a lot of sense to download movies or pack some books for the journey. As we made our way out of Northern Virginia, we reached speeds of nearly 75 miles per hour. Meals on Amtrak today are just not what they used to be. I'd received an email a week or so before the trip to pre-select my meals, which I did, but nobody seemed to have a record of my selections. Not that it mattered. They didn't run out of anything. So, instead, I placed my order with the room attendant who brought lunch to me. The cafe car was closed. Subscribers will remember that I struggled with the meatballs on the Empire Builder.
My fork is a casualty of the sturdiness, I guess you'd say, of the meatballs.
So I decided to give them another chance.
I hope I don't break another one.
Let's face it, Amtrak's food is just not very good right now. Thankfully, the views have not changed. Eating in the privacy of this roomette was great because it meant enjoying the ride into Virginia's horse country.
Empty plate, full fork.
And soon, we were pulling into Charlottesville, Virginia, my first fresh air break. This would be an opportunity to get out of the train, stretch my legs, and, if I smoked, which I don't, to light up. The trains are non-smoking. These fresh air breaks are such a welcome respite on the train. It's a lot of fun to get out and see the whole thing. This particular one included 2 coach cars, a cafe car, and a sleeper. These breaks often coincide with crew changes, maintenance, or fueling. In this case, our crew changed.
What a way to see the country!
Before long, it was time to get back on board. Doors can conveniently be opened with a kick. It's a useful hack in a pandemic when it's good to avoid touching surfaces wherever possible. Ordinarily a place to socialize and eat, cafe cars are temporarily only offering carry-out services. You can buy food from their normal menu and take it back to your seat or room. However, don't forget, Amtrak is temporarily not accepting cash. Don't forget your credit card or a debit card. Here's a bedroom on the Viewliner. As you can see, it's bigger than my roomette, offering a sofa and 2 bigger beds. We'll be in a family bedroom, even larger, on the Southwest Chief. I settled back into my seat for the ongoing journey.
This is the Buckingham Branch and is apparently some of the roughest track out there. So let's experience what turbulence looks like on the rails.
The Buckingham Branch Railroad's tracks run for about 275 miles through central Virginia. The routing was largely constructed in the 19th century by several railroad companies. Tracks used today by the Buckingham Branch Railroad, CSX, and, of course, Amtrak. I could certainly feel the bumps as we traveled along this stretch, and I was grateful not to be trying to sleep through this section. You could really see how rough this track was between the cars. But there was something truly mesmerizing about just looking out the window. I could hardly contain my excitement as we entered the Shenandoah Valley. Amtrak's Capital Limited is the most direct routing from DC to Chicago, but I wanted to book this train because
In many ways, this is where I grew up. This is near where my grandparents were from, so I spent a lot of time up here. Went to college near here. This is a really special place to me, so it's pretty amazing to see it from the rails.
I have memories all over these mountains, and I think you'll agree, this is some pretty spectacular scenery. This was really the only time I felt a bit claustrophobic in my room. I really wanted to see out of both sides of the train, which would be possible on the next leg of the journey. The Southwest Chief is operated by a superliner, which, unlike the smaller Viewliner, includes an observation car where I spent most of my waking hours. Can't wait to share that one with you, but for now, let's keep enjoying the spectacular Shenandoah Valley. It's impossible to overstate the sense of privacy this roomette provides. The shared toilets were roomy and clean for the trip. There's also a shower in the back of the sleeper car. We made our way into West Virginia, where cell service became spotty.
I can't tell you the number of times I've driven down that road right there. Pretty cool to see it from up here.
The Cardinal got its name because 6 of the states it passes through, Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois, all share the same state bird. You guessed it, the Cardinal. We're nearly to White Sulphur Springs, which is home to the Greenbrier, a really super high-end, very nice resort. But it's also home to a bunker that Congress built during the Cold War to keep themselves safe in the event of nuclear holocaust. So the theory was they'd hop on a train at Union Station, as I did, and then take the train all the way down here to White Sulphur Springs, and then get out, go in the bunker, and be safe. Fortunately, that bunker never had to be used, but I don't really know if it would have worked at all. Proof I'm an ignoramus. I just now realized the toilet is right there. Probably should have done some research. Does seeing this in the room make you more or less likely to share this space with someone else? Let me know. Leave a comment below. As the terrain grew more mountainous, we passed through a number of tunnels. Okay, so it's 5:20 or so, and dinner is being served. I'll show you how it comes. It comes in this bag over here, which has all of it laid out. It's really a pretty good presentation. It's nice that it's delivered. Don't forget to tip your attendant, though. I chose to have the beef. It's what's for dinner. We pulled into Charleston, and I started thinking about falling asleep, which meant it was time to request my bed be made up. Roomettes have 2 beds, but as I was traveling alone on this leg, I only needed 1. It's true, this is not an official authorized Amtrak provided pillow, but that's kind of important because let me just tell you, the Amtrak pillows are not that great, so I went ahead and brought my own just to make it a little bit more comfortable. And just after 9 o'clock. Good night. I slept through fresh air breaks in Huntington, West Virginia and Cincinnati, Ohio. It's, well, like 4:30 in the morning. It's a little early for me to wake up, but not crazy. It's a pretty good night's sleep. I like the rocking. It was nice. A little smoother track than in North Dakota on the Empire Builder. About an hour later, we pulled into Indianapolis, and I recalled my last visit. St. Elmo's Steakhouse for their legendary shrimp cocktail and a filet, a great night's sleep at the JW Marriott. This was a different way to see the city. Our attendant, who must have been running on less sleep than I was, saw me stirring and offered to reset the bed. I accepted her suggestion, took a seat in a nearby empty roomette, and waited the 5 minutes or so it took her to return the whole thing to its daytime setup. And just like that, it's back to the way it was. What a cool space. She brought me breakfast, and we stopped moving in a field in rural Indiana. Our delay of about an hour was due to the need to wait for a passing freight train. It would have been impossible to complain, though. The sunrise was a stunner. The other train passed, and we were rolling. With the sun up, it was clear just how much the landscape had transformed during the night. I'd fallen asleep in the mountains and woken up here, at the eastern edge of the flat farmland that would define the next portion of the journey across the country. This is part of America's breadbasket. It's no surprise we met a freight train. In fact, we saw a lot. After all, most rail traffic here in the U.S. carries freight. In fact, some 40% of all cargo in this country is transported by trains. But it's only responsible for 8% of the carbon emissions from freight transportation. According to one estimate, moving freight by rail instead of trucks could save up to 1,000 gallons of fuel per carload. Now, I've heard freight trains take priority over Amtrak on the tracks, but is that really true? Let me know. Indiana is one of 13 U.S. states with multiple time zones. So, somewhere after Lafayette, we lost an hour.
Next stop, Chicago. First glimpse of the skyline right over there.
This Southwest 737 was coming in from Raleigh, North Carolina. Sure, that may have been a quicker way to get here from the East Coast, but those passengers missed seeing so much. Only an hour behind schedule, we pulled into Chicago's Union Station.
What an adventure, and there's more to come. Be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next leg of this journey across the United States of America by rail. I just missed a flight to LA, so I'm doing the next best thing. Take the train. Hello, jet setters. I'm Jeb Brook. Can't wait to bring you on this journey. That's...
Generally, it'd be good, so I guess I'll probably maybe. So last night I had this dream that I was in my childhood home, and we were being racked by a storm, like it was lightning and rain and wind. And the house was shaking so much I could feel it. And then I woke up and I was on a train.
I'm Jeb Brooks from greenergrass.com. Between now and the next time, see you on the rails.